Good morning students. Welcome back to 10th standard science class. Let us start with the continuation of the lesson laws of motion. In previous class we learned about Newton's law. There is three laws there. Newton's first law, second law and third law. We already learned about Newton's first law. Now we will learn about Newton's second law. Newton's second law of motion. Definition: the force acting on a body is directly proportional to the rate of change of linear momentum of body, and the change in momentum takes place in the direction of the force. That means if the force F act on a body and that force is directly proportional to linear momentum of the body and direction of the force. In upcoming topic, we will learn detailedly about what is meant by linear momentum. And this Newton's second law helps to measure the amount of force, so it is also called as law of force. So, the Newton's second law is otherwise known as law of force because it is mainly used to measure the amount of force. Now, we will detailedly learn about Newton's second law. If a body contains the initial velocity is u and the final velocity is v at the time interval t, the external force act on a body is F. And the initial momentum created in the body is Pi is equal to mass into initial velocity. Mass of the body into initial velocity. Mass m and initial velocity is u. So, Pi is equal to m into u. And the final momentum of the body is Pf is equal to product of mass into final velocity m into v, and change in momentum delta p is equal to final minus initial, that is final momentum of the body minus initial momentum of the body, Pf minus Pi. We substitute the value of Pi and Pf in these equations. Now we get that change in momentum delta p is equal to mv. The value of Pf is mv minus the value of Pi is mu. So, finally, delta P is equal to mv minus mu. This is the change in momentum. By Newton's second law, we know from this definition the force F is directly proportional to rate of change in momentum per time. So, proportional, this is the symbol of proportional. Force is directly proportional to rate of change in momentum per time. That is, F is proportional to change in momentum. The value of change in momentum is mv minus mu. So, we substitute this mv minus mu per time interval t. So, finally, we get that F is proportional to mv minus mu by t. If we remove the proportionality symbol, we can add one constant. Here we add k as a constant. Now we remove the proportionality symbols into equal symbol. Now we get F is equal to k into mv minus mu by t. Here we will take this m in the common, then we will write that equations F is equal to k into m as a common, v minus u by t. And k is the proportionality constant and the value of k is equal to 1. Just let us consider the value of k is equal to 1. Hence, the equations F force is equal to m into v minus u by t. That is, force is equal to mass into change in velocity divided by t. This is the equation 1. And we already know acceleration. Acceleration means the change in velocity per time is known as acceleration. Acceleration is denoted in the symbol as a, and A is equal to change in velocity final minus initial, that is v minus u by time interval t. This is equation 2. Now we substitute the equation 2 in equation 1, that is equation 1 is f is equal to m v minus u by t. Instead of this v minus u by t, we substitute a. Now we get the equation is f is equal to m into a, that is force is equal to mass into acceleration. The force is calculated by the product of mass and acceleration. And this is the Newton's second law. The force is required to produce the acceleration of the body, and unit of force we already know. The SI unit of force is Newton Capsian. In CGS system the unit of force is dyne, dyne. In 1 Newton is equal to 1 kilogram meter second power minus 2, and 1 dyne is equal to 1 gram centimeter second power minus 2. Now we will learn about impulse. A large force acting for a very short interval of time is known as impulsive force. That is, a large amount of force act on very short interval of time is known as impulsive force, and the product of force and time is known as impulse. Impulse is denoted in the symbol is J. J is equal to F into T, product of force and time. Next we learn about Newton's third law of motions. We already know, well known about that Newton's third law. There is for every reaction there is an equal and opposite reaction is there. That is the Newton's third law. That is, Newton's third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reactions is there. They always act on two different bodies. That is, the F of B is equal to minus F of A. That means the force acting on a body B is equal to opposite to the force acting on a body A. That is Newton's third law. Some of the examples which describe the Newton's third law is, when birds fly in the sky, they push the air downwards with the use of their wings, and the air push the bird body upward directions. That is, the birds fly in the air, the wings of the birds push the air in downward direction, and the air pushes the body of the birds in upward directions. So the bird easily fly in the sky. Another one example is, if a person swim in the water, he pushes the water using the hands in backward directions, and the water push the body of the human into the upward direction, that is forward direction. Then he easily swim in water. There is an every action there is an equal and opposite reactions will happen. If we push the water in backward, the water pushes your body in forward directions. These are the examples for Newton's third law. I hope you understood about Newton's third law. Next we learn about principle of conservation of linear momentum. We already know in Newton's second law that force is directly proportional to linear momentum of that body. So now we detailedly learn about what is meant by linear momentum. Let us consider two bodies A and B. The mass of body A is m1 and the mass of body B is m2, and the initial velocity of body A is u1 and the final velocity of body A is v1, and the initial velocity of body B is u2 and the final velocity of body B is v2. Now the two bodies are move in the initial velocity u1 and u2. After interval of time t seconds, the force acting on a body, after the collision, both of them move along in straight line with the final velocity of v1 and v2. If the force acting on a body That is, if a body A collision with the body B to create a force on body B, that is the force on body B due to the collision of body A, F of B is equal to m2 into v2 minus u2 by t. We already know force is equal to mass into change in velocity by t, that is m into v minus u by t. Here we substitute these equations. The force on body B, so we represented force on body B Fb is equal to mass of body B is m2, so we represent that m2 into the final velocity of body B minus initial velocity of body B, v2 minus u2 divided by t time interval. And if the force acting on a body B collisions with body A to create a force on body A, now the equations of force on body A is equal to F of A is equal to mass into change in velocity per time, that is mass of body A is m1. So we substitute that m1 into change in velocity final minus initial of body A is v1 minus u1 per time interval t. By Newton's third law of motions, action force is equal to reaction force. When we apply the Newton's third law in this equation, action force is equal to reaction force, that is force on body A is equal to minus force on body B, that is opposite reactions that resemble that symbol is minus, negative symbol is there. Now we apply the value of F of A and F of B, that is F of A value is m1 into v1 minus u1 divided by t is equal to minus Fb value m2 into v2 minus u2 divided by t. That both side t is common, so we cancel this t. Now we get the equation m1 into v1 minus u1 is equal to minus m2 into v2 minus u2. Just we multiply the m1 to both sides, that is m1 into v1 minus m1 into u1 equal to minus m2 into v2 and minus into minus plus m2 into u2. Just we interchange these equations, m1 v1, this minus m2 v2 come to this side, another one side of this equal, it come the changes into plus symbol, the negative signs changes into plus. So m1 v1 plus m2 v2 is equal to m2 u2, this negative is converted into positive symbol m1 u1. Just now we write the equations, m1 v1 plus m2 v2 is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. That means the algebraic sum of the momentum of after collision is numerically equal to algebraic sum of momentum before collisions. If the two bodies after collisions, the algebraic sum is equal to the before collisions. That is the principle of linear momentum. Once again, the algebraic sum of momentum of after collision is equal to the algebraic sum of momentum of before collision. Next we learn about rocket propulsion. Propulsion means action of diving or pushing forward. That is, the rocket propulsion is based on two principles, the law of conservation of linear momentum and Newton's third law. Based on these two principles, the rocket propulsion is working out. We already learned about the parts of rocket in previous classes. The back side of this rocket is filled with the fuel. That fuel tank is known as propellant tank, and a combustion chamber is there. So we already know about that parts of rocket. Now we detailedly learn about the rocket propulsion. First, the rocket is filled with the fuel in the fuel tank, that is known as propellant tank. Here we are used either liquid or solid fuels in this rocket. When fired the fuel, burnt and release hot gases from nozzle of rocket. The hot gases is released from the nozzle of rocket and it produces a huge momentum in the nozzle of rocket. For balancing this momentum, equal and opposite reaction of force is produced in the combustion chamber which make the rocket project forward. That means if the fuel burn to release the hot gases which produce huge momentum in the nozzle of rocket, which balancing the momentum, there are opposite forces produced in the combustion chamber which project the rocket forward. So this is based on the principle of Newton's third law. There is every reaction, there is an equal and opposite reactions is there. So based on this Newton's third law and based on the principle of linear momentum, the rocket propulsion is working out. While in motion, the mass of the rocket is gradually decreases until the fuel is completely burned out. Once the mass of the rocket decreases and increases the velocity of the rocket. At one stage, the rocket reaches its velocity which is sufficient escape from the gravitational pull of this earth. This velocity is known as escape velocity. That means the velocity reaches in one stage which is sufficient escape from the gravitational pull force. That velocity is known as escape velocity. Students, I hope you understood about Newton's first law, second law and third law. Prepare well that Newton's second law, principle of linear momentum and rocket propulsions. These are the very important questions. Thank you, students.